Hello and welcome to The Thing I Love Most show. The thing we love most is being Spurs fans, being Yids, and this week we have a new guest on the show. So Matthew, you may have heard his podcast on Spurs News, and obviously we have Big Bad Don representing once again in the building. So welcome all, thank you to all who's been watching and listening over the past few weeks. We much appreciate your support. And here we go again with another show. So another victory, exciting times. It was hard fought, it was lucky, as the West Ham fans have been saying, but we did manage to get over the line. 1-0 victory against the Hammers, who literally hate us more than life itself. You were saying earlier on that you know a fan who would say that they would prefer the Tottenham to lose and West Ham to win.
Yeah, he's got a West Ham tattoo on it, and he'd rather see, with a straight face, he said to me, he'd rather see us lose than the West Ham win, and meant it. You know, that's the hatred that they have towards us.
It's very worrying. I don't understand.
Bizarre.
But,
I've never understood it.
Yeah,
never understood, like...
It's not like it's reciprocated, really.
No, just a couple of guys have gone, like, what's...
It's pure hatred.
Exactly. I've said to a few of them, like, what is it? And they don't really know themselves. They just hate, just see the red eyes just shoot up.
The mist,
Which is why it's obviously always quite nice to beat them in their cup final, as we do like to say, and they hate to hear. Highlight for me of the game, apart from the goal, was obviously the disallowed goal. The smoke bombs going up, and it was pure brilliance. Did
they send the bubbles off going?
The bubbles went off. Yeah. It was a classic moment.
Bubbles and smoke bombs.
Absolutely. Well, it was a goal, or was it? So performance-wise, I thought first half was very good. We should have probably gone in a bit more than one up. We were quite dominant. We didn't really seem to have that final killer ball, which was lacking, apart from obviously the very, very good Sissoko assist that we'll come on to. And then the second half, obviously, we did seem to struggle maintaining possession, and obviously we knew they were going to come on to us, which happened. And then I felt that once he took Lamela off for Dembele, then we were sort of almost just a little bit too deep, and we were struggling with just Kane on his own up top to really sort of have any attacking threat. So all we're doing was basically inviting them on to us, and it was a bit of a hairy 20 minutes, I would say, towards the end. Well, firstly, what were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it just seems that we're 1-0 up. We're at their ground. You have the fans that they're desperate. They're vying for blood, aren't they? We shouldn't have gone into defensive mode. We should just carried on attacking. I think that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Look, hindsight's a wonderful thing, and we won the game. So it worked, didn't it? But as a Spurs fan, it wasn't comfortable, was it? The last few minutes of the game, So I always wish that he'd have more of an attacking mindset, and instead of trying to sort of, keep the 1-0, then. Let's go for a second, because we're a better team, aren't we?
Yeah,
I mean, we're a better team than they are.
I have to agree with you on that. This isn't the first time this has happened. I'm not having a go, but this happened in the Inter game where he took Lamela off, and we said exactly the same thing before, that it basically, once you take a player like that off, who's quite aggressive and is trying to snap at the ball, even for a defensive player, it then means you're in defensive mode, so you drop back. So. Yeah, I wasn't happy to see it, but obviously as glad as you guys are that we saw the game out.
Yeah, I think he wanted to obviously try and solidify the midfield, but then I just think just taking an attacking player off, a player who holds possession, a player who wins free kicks, a pacey player who can drive up the pitch to win free kicks in their attacking third, it doesn't make sense to then bring on Dembele. Maybe take off Sissoko or take off a defensive player if you're going to bring on Dembele, but for me it was strange to me, but in hindsight, it's one of the thing. We won the game. If we had brought on Lamela and there was someone in the middle of the park who ran on and scored a goal, we'd be saying we wanted someone in there. So it's fine.
Do you just on that? Do you think that it's a management of Lamela? Reading an article tonight in the Standard, basically talking about him not being able to train as hard after his injury. So do you feel that it's the manager trying to make sure that we get the maximum out of him each game? Because it could be that. I'm not, I think that's...
Possibly. I mean, he hasn't... I think it was one of the first games he started this season. And
his first Premier League start.
He obviously, we've got some big games coming up. So he I don't know, he might have been trying to sort of make sure that he was still fit. But I think just in terms of that, then we've got Son on the bench who would have come on and maybe done a similar thing. So I think it was more a tactical thing to bring on Dembele.
Yeah.
He does. Lamela does seem a different player since he's come back from his injury. Like even physically, like he looks. It almost looks like he looks like a man now, don't you think? He's kind of that year in the gym has kind of given him bulk, and he's always been quite a slight-looking player. I mean, I don't know if you guys ever used to watch Transworld Sport back in the day.
Yes, yeah.
Lamela was on it, right? And genuinely, it looked like a little girl. Right? It was a little girl there, and they were talking about him being the next Maradona, and he never seemed to like sort of have that physical presence. But that injury has almost kind of turned him into a man, and I feel like we're seeing the best of him almost because of what he's gone through, and because he's put on that bulk, and he seems to have a different kind of attitude now, and we're seeing such a better Lamela, I think, than we have in the past.
So who else impressed you on the day, apart from Lamela?
Well, Lloris had a good game, pulled off some great saves, didn't he, and I'm liking Winks at the moment as well. I've always said, Winks for me is, do you remember Tom Carroll? So Tom Carroll's one of them players that had a bit of skill about him, but talking about physical, attributes as well, he never seemed to he always looked like a little boy playing in a man's game, whereas Winks just has that, I don't know, it's a bit like I don't know the best way to describe it, possibly like a bit of an X-Factor. He's got a bit of a Lampard.
Tenacity, I think.
Yeah, but he's got a bit of a cockiness about him, and it's almost like he's been playing for years, and although, and he
very confident.
Yeah, and I like him. I like his confidence, and I feel like he's really developing his game now, and I can genuinely see him being a regular,
Yeah, I completely agree. I've said it before on the show. I think for England as well, I think he's a real find, and I agree. He did play very well. And there's quite a few attacking runs that he did as well. He sort of he receives the ball, he was always quick on the turn, and then he was like, oh, there's a bit of space there, I'm going to have a little jinky run, and then we move forward and we drive forward. And if Dembele's not on the pitch, that's very important, because that's what Dembele does. So you have to, if you are playing alongside Dyer, you are more attacking. So you have to have that one vision of passing, but also that drive to take us 20 metres up the pitch. And I think he does it very well. Lloris, obviously, man of the match on our poll that we did on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. 3 very, very good saves. He was definitely up there for me. And Sissoko.
I'm not surprised. I know others are, but I'm not shocked at that. I'm
surprised at the fact he sort of, twisted a player and then created quite a decent cross, because I've never seen him do a good cross before.
No, I know what you mean. But, I think sometimes when there's time to think, his game, his shot or his delivery isn't great. But I'm not surprised that at some point this season we're starting to see something like we did. I
think his confidence is growing from being, involved more and starting, and getting good reception from the fans. I'm sure helps. I still don't think he's anywhere near our first team when we have a fully fit squad. But he's doing the job that's required of him. And once again, he was good. He gave away the ball a couple of times, but they all did as well. I think Trippier, Rodney mentioned, had quite a bad game. So they're not always going to be top marks. So, but I think in general, Winks I would agree with, Lloris, Lamela, and Sissoko were my top 4.
Yeah, I mean, with Sissoko, I mean, we all know, don't we, like that he gets a lot of stick, but I just feel like with him, it's a confidence thing. You can see that there's so many situations where he can play a ball or make the run, but he just chooses the safe option so many times, and it's just a confidence thing for him, and I really feel for him, because he must see the negativity that on social media and in the ground. I mean, every time it's a misplaced pass or a shot, you can hear the groans.
It's terrible. I hate it.
Yeah, I do as well. I absolutely hate it. I really do. And
I've never seen it before.
No,
with a player of ours, where there's real criticism before they've even stepped on the pitch, or before they
even when they're calling the nut, like when they announce the team, everyone's getting a clap and you can hear it sort of go quiet for Sissoko. He needs support. He needs us cheering him. The more support he hears from us, the better. If he's only going to hear negativity, then that's only going to play into his lack of confidence, because he knows if he does play that pass and misplace, it's going to be more groans. So that must be in the back of his mind.
Definitely.
That I don't want to do it because it's only going to get me more negativity.
Yeah, agreed.
And that's only affecting his confidence.
It's only natural. He's only human.
Whereas if he knows that, we're on his side, and make the odd mistake, but we're still going to be behind you. I feel like he'd make more. He'd be a more confident player and make more sort of passes and make more runs and get involved a lot more. But it's all too safe, and it's nice, and it's sort of with all the other creative players we've got, it's fine. But it's just frustrating with him, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
just frustrating because you know he's got the ability and he's shown it in Euro. It's why we bought him.
Physically,
Yeah.
he's there, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a big guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's there, but he's the issue is kind of when he receives the ball sometimes he just doesn't seem that comfortable on it.
He doesn't look like he's got control of it.
Well,
It's a bit sort of like he sort of does the whole sort of standing over it.
But going back to what I said at the beginning, I'm not surprised because he's been there long enough. He's a football player. We train hard. You know, Tottenham are renowned for our training regime. That's our first sort of core message to the players is that you train. And with all that training, something has to come off, and it has for him. And I'm glad that we're finally reaping the rewards.
Me too.
You imagine, like, we're reaping the rewards of two of the players that, you know, the £30 million players, Lamela and Sissoko. And you know, the outfield players, they were arguably the two best players on the field. So
Yeah, great.
it's good for us.
And so we've had our best Premier League start. Last week it was equalled, and this week it's been beaten.
Am I the only one, though?
We're not playing well. Not playing one good game.
Am I the only one that looks at the table and thought, are we up there?
Yeah, well, it's so bizarre, isn't it? It's so bizarre.
It's crazy.
I was saying to a friend of mine that I can't put my finger on it. It's, you know, we're having the best start. It's incredible. Like, you know, we're 2 points off the top, but there's just this weird feeling, isn't there? And I've been racking my brains to think of what it is. And for me, all I can think it is this uncertainty with the ground and everything. And we're kind of just we're feeling a bit up in the air, aren't we?
Yep.
Like, you know, whereas last season we was playing away from home, but we knew we'd be at Wembley all season. So right, that's our home for a season. Let's settle in here. But this season, it's just like, you know, how long are we going to be here?
Yeah,
and
it's not helping.
It's been cancelled, and we're all just kind of. I think we're all in this kind of weird sort of state of, you know, what's going on, and meanwhile, you know, best start to the Premier League. Which
Also injuries, you know, it's rare that you have sort of like, you know, 4 or 5 or even 6 first teamers out at such an early stage in the season.
Of course, yeah.
And also, we are the only team that have played as many away games as we have, obviously because we required them and we asked for them. But the whole team, the whole squad, the whole Premier League now, after the Scum game today, will have played 9 games. The most that any team has played is 5 away games, which is Liverpool and Man United. But Man City have only played 4 away, and we have played 6. So 6 out of our 9 games have been away from home. But yet we've won 7 of them, and we're still there. Up, which is incredible. It's incredible. We haven't hit form. There has not been one game that we dominated like we usually dominate. There's not been one game where we've walked away thinking that was an absolute battering. You know, we're doing like we were doing on Saturday, 20 minutes, the last 20 minutes, and we're absolutely sort of like, you know, on the edge of our seats.
Yeah,
it was horrible.
Yeah,
I hated those last 20 minutes.
It's just no good for your heart rate, is it?
Oh my word, no. It was, but anyway, 3 points nonetheless.
Absolutely,
and,
that's what matters. Yeah.
Their cup final once again is cup-less.
I did see that somebody shared on social media that they were trying to claim that it's our cup final. I mean, like, it's not even a goer, is it?
No, it's really not. It's really not. So, Champions League week this week. We've got PSV away. I've managed to wangle myself a ticket through some means. I'm not even sure how. So fingers crossed it will all get sorted on Wednesday. So your thoughts on the game? Obviously PSV doing very well this year, once again in the Dutch league. Are you confident that we're going to grab the 3 points? Or?
Well, I mean, I am. You know, they're top of the Dutch league, aren't they? But the Dutch league isn't the Premier League, is it? I mean, they're a good squad, but on paper, you know, it should be a game that we should comfortably win away as well. You know, they're a good they're a good team. I mean, they've got a nice ground, and I've been there. I've been lucky enough to watch them a couple of times there, and you know, the support is fantastic. You know, the fans are phenomenal with them. You know, that they had when Gomez was. I went to lucky enough to go to a game when Gomez was playing for them, and it was his birthday, and they kind of the whole stand behind him just held his cards up. They just said "Happy Birthday, Gomez." So they've got real affiliation with their players, and they're really good support. And there'll be a good atmosphere there, but I can't see us losing it. I can't see us I can't see it being anything but a win. I don't know what you guys think, but
we've got to win, or it's over. I don't know. I'm going to be real. I don't know too much about them. The fact that they are top of the league doesn't, as you said, the Dutch league isn't that strong. I'm looking forward to it because I feel like this first leg, it's a double header, isn't it, against them? So we play them away and then we bring them back to Wembley. We've got to get it right in the first game, and if we don't, then it's over. It's over.
So a draw is not good enough, you think?
No, I don't think it is. I think I would go as far as to say if we had a draw in the return leg, just not saying forget about it. You have to play a strong, but have one eye on your Premier League game or the game after that game, because.
So the situation is obviously we're on 0 points. They're on 6 points. Inter Milan are on 6 points. Sorry, and so we do need to hope for other results. Barcelona news this week was that Messi is out injured for 3 weeks, so he's going to miss both of the Inter Milan matches. Do you think that's I mean, obviously he's an amazing player, but do you think they've got the players to step in and still hurt Inter, both home and away?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the game at Wembley, Messi just ran it, didn't he? But it's not all about Messi, is it? They've got some great players there. I was at the game and. It's one of them things with Barcelona where you're watching it and suddenly a player will appear out of nowhere and he'll get past him and you're like, how did he get there? Their movement is phenomenal, And of course Messi will be a massive miss for them, but I still see him.
Yeah. Suarez I thought was class.
Oh yeah.
His dummies were just like.
He allowed Messi
crazy.
to play.
Yeah.
He allowed him to, he's taking people away from Messi, so he gave Messi that space to kind of be the orchestrator in that game, I thought.
Yeah.
So predictions then for Wednesday night. If you're going to go for a score, what are you going to go for? Do you think we'll concede?
No, I think 2-0. I can see 2-0.
2-0.
Yeah.
I'm liking the confidence.
Yeah, I think so.
You can come again. Yes, son. What are we saying, Don?
1. Yeah, just a 1-0. I think. I think it will be a similar performance to the West Ham game in the sense it will. There'll be us not sitting back but having to absorb a lot of pressure. I'm so glad though that our keeper is back to his best. I think that it's a huge factor going into this game. The fact that he's on top class form at the moment. So
we were talking about it before actually, but I think and a load of people were talking about it online this week about there were people now just saying, oh, Lloris is back to his best. Where are all the haters and stuff like that? And for me, it's not like that. I think. What happened was the Barcelona game, he made a terrible mistake. Previously, he has made a few mistakes as well. But his shot stopping has never been in question. He's one of the best in the world at his literally like one-on-ones and his reflexes are just incredible. So as long as he just tries to iron out the mistakes, then he will always be the number one. But it's just if they creep more into his game. And as we were talking about off air before, the fact he is a bit more of a sweeper keeper now. So maybe that's why, and it seems like Poch this season, maybe towards the end of last season as well, they seem to be playing out more from the back, don't they?
Yeah.
From Lloris. He's very, very hesitant to kick it long. He will always try and go for the fullbacks or the wingbacks more than before, I think. So maybe that's meant that mentally he's more prone to mistakes than before.
Possibly. Against a team like Barcelona, who are,
they're going to press.
Yeah, they're just pressing. Yeah, you're going to get that. And also, let's not forget it was his first game back.
Yeah.
So
he might have been still drunk. So I'm going to go for 2-1. I always go for 2-1 in these games. It's just come up with another prediction, Nolh. But I honestly do. I don't think we're playing that well enough at the moment without Vertonghen to get clean sheets. Obviously, we have done the last 2 games, but I just still think there's something for me just not 100% right. And to be honest, I'm like Don, I don't really know that much about PSV, so it'd be exciting to go there and actually see them live, see the fans.
It is a good atmosphere.
See if they do put a performance, and obviously they've got to, go for it as well as much as us. So in the same position, so it's going to be a good game. So we're going for 2-0, 1-0,
1-0,
2-1. So we've got a bit of a fixture congestion coming up, isn't it? It's crazy. So on Wednesday we go to PSV. On Monday we've then got Manchester City. Obviously it would have been the Saturday, but then we had to move it because of NFL and then Wembley. And then Wednesday we've got another one of their cup finals because we go to West Ham again away at the London Stadium. So it's getting very, very tight. Is it possible for us to get through this with the squad that we have? Are we considering that we're going to do very well in this period, or is it going to be difficult?
Well, there's going to have to be heavy rotation, isn't there? Really heavy rotation. You're not going to have the same players playing them 3 games, are you? I mean, you're looking at what, not even in a week, 7 days, 3 games in 7 days. It's incredible, isn't it? So we are going to be having to look at the fringe players.
So you think they're going to go first team for the Wednesday and the Monday, and then a change in team like the Foyths and the Llorentes for the Cup?
Yeah, definitely. The West Ham game, yeah, I can see that. I mean, we've lost the last couple of League Cup games against West Ham, haven't we? So our form was not great against them. So the writing's on the wall really a little bit, but, I can't see him playing the full-strength squad, especially with the Man City game. And the Man City game, we win that and we possibly go top, So it's a really important game, Monday's game, and that's where he needs to throw his best 11 at it, really.
We might even benefit from having that little time from Wednesday to Monday, I suppose. I mean, it's not a far trip to Eindhoven.
No, of course.
So, having that extra bit of time as opposed to playing on Saturday. But then, like you said, the Wednesday game against West Ham, they're going to have to rest quite a few, I would have thought.
Yeah, sure. I mean, when the Champions League draw was made, I was quite happy actually that the games we play, we haven't got to go far, have we?
No.
It's Holland, Italy, and Spain, isn't it? So that actually hopefully will give us some kind of advantage for the away games.
Until then, we get knocked out and we go in the Europa League and we're back to flipping Azerbaijan. So we're going to talk about not the West Ham. We're going to talk about the Man City game now. Obviously, you said it's incredibly important. They are absolutely flying. Yeah. They're not looking as good away from home, but they still are really, really looking like they've got just such ridiculous talent to come on. Like
bags of pace.
I mean, I put Sterling in my fantasy league team this week, and obviously he benched him. He didn't even play him. And they still bagged 5, and they had 5 different scorers. So it's like, what do you think for this one? A change in formation? I mean, do you go back to the back 5, or do you think because obviously Vertonghen's not around there's no one really to play there?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I mean, we like in the last few years we've had some decent results against them, haven't we? We've done quite well last season. I mean, I don't know if you guys were at the game at Wembley, but we just looked like rabbits caught in headlights. Yeah. We were just giving them so much respect, and it's a difficult one, isn't it? I think whatever team we play is going to be a tough game. Like you say, they've got so much pace, haven't they?
All over the place.
I don't know. I mean, I'd be tempted to go for the 2 at the back and have the wing backs, and just try to match them, because we've got a good squad, and on our day, if we're all up for it, I know we haven't been playing particularly well and we've been grinding out results, but if it could just click on the day, then we could easily match them.
We're due a performance.
Yeah, we are.
That's
really
the thing. We are due a
Yeah.
performance, and we're not playing badly. We're just not playing really well. So
we're seeing it in moments, aren't we?
It's not as worse as it has been, before. The Liverpool game was the worst I can remember in recent times. But that was just a blip. That was just like that was just normal players just playing terrible passes. It was a very, very strange day. And we still could have even drawn that game at the end if we'd had that penalty, which is interesting. But I think it's gonna be difficult. But defensively, they're still not as great, I think, as they could be. So we've got the players to hurt them, but it's just I mean, on the break and even just like in attacking play, they're just incredible. Yeah. They're just incredible. So it will be tough, but I think. We've got to obviously try and win. So we'll talk about predictions now. This is going to be a slightly more difficult one to predict after the PSVs.
I genuinely like to be positive, and I genuinely would like to see us win, but I can see a draw. I can see a 1-1 draw, I think. I can see...
that's positive, that is.
I'm trying to be, I'd love to say we're going to smash them 5-0, but I can't see that happening, I'd like to see us win the game, but I mean, we haven't drawn yet this season, have we? So we're probably due a draw. So I'll take a draw, take a 1-0. Obviously, I'll take a win, but the way they're playing and the team they've got, that as long as we don't lose, I'll come away happy. I think.
Yeah, I would agree. I think we are. Yeah, obviously our aim is to win, but I would be happy with a draw. I'm going to go 2-1 again. I'm going to go 2-1 to us. Pretty much that's all I do.
Standard.
I don't even predict. I just got 2-1 to Reds. I have no idea. So Don, what are you going to go for?
I'm going to go 2-0 to us.
2-0.
I don't know. I think that we're not. We all agree we're not playing as well as we could do. At some point, that performance has to come out, and I sense that it's on its way.
That's double positive thinking.
Double positive
Do
thinking.
you know it's quite interesting because
I think it's coming.
Yeah, I think it is. And talking about Liverpool and the poor performance this season, I remember last season, we had those draws, didn't we, against Burnley and Swansea, and we'd lost to Chelsea, hadn't we? So we'd got 2 points from our first 3 games at Wembley, and then Liverpool came to town and we smashed them, didn't we? And it was just a performance that come out of nowhere. We wasn't playing that well, and it was to the point where they Klopp brought off Lovren, didn't he, after 30 minutes because Kane was just embarrassing him, and
he was embarrassing himself, to be fair.
yeah, it was a bit, yeah. But I just come away from that game thinking, wow, our season's been lit, and it's weird because although we had a decent game against Manchester United this season, we had the 3-0. The first half was, I don't think that we sort of come alive in the second half. But even that performance hasn't made me feel like the season's come alive. Whereas that Liverpool game last season, it was like, this is the Tottenham.
Yeah,
this is what I've come here to watch. And I feel like if we can get a performance like that, then the fans will be like, right, we've got our Tottenham back now, and this is how we're going to be playing from now on. So possibly if we have that performance against Man City, although we're flying in the league, that might be from a sort of your feeling point of view that this might be the game that gets us really back in the mood with Spurs,
Fingers crossed. I think for me, Moura needs to step up a little bit. I really like the way he's playing at the moment. I like the fact he's doing these jinky runs. His transition play is good, but just in that attacking third, for me, he's just not doing enough. Either a shot or the vital clinical pass. He's just not that. And obviously, Son's been sort of out of form a little bit since he's come back from the Asian Games. Eriksen's going to be obviously sort of still maybe a little bit lack of fitness. So it'll be interesting to see obviously who he plays on Wednesday against PSV. But then if we do get the full first teamers back, because then Potter's got a real decision to make on his first team. Because obviously Ali's still injured, but when Ali comes back, then you've got sort of 5 players vying for 3 positions behind Kane.
I think sort of pre-match interview against our last opponent, he said that Ali was like 7 to 11 days away.
Yeah.
From coming back.
Yeah.
So potentially he could be back for the Man City game. I mean, it might be a step too far putting him into the game straight away. But I think Eriksen will be fit by next week.
Yeah.
I think that he'll potentially make an appearance against PSV. I don't think he will start, but he came on against West Ham, and I think that he will be tip top for the City game.
I think we're all looking forward to Eriksen coming back because we know how good he is. But he hasn't been playing particularly well. Before the injury, he hasn't, has he?
And he makes Kane tick, I find, as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I noticed in the West Ham game that Kane was quite isolated because, I mean, Lamela was playing quite close to him, but he was still making those runs, and then Moura was a little bit deeper, and he was struggling, I think, Kane. But when you see Eriksen get the ball, that's when Kane comes alive, because he knows that the ball can go to his feet or it can go to his head, or he's going to look for him. Same with Ali as well. Like, they really, that sort of like fulcrum is really important for us when it comes to attacking play, and that's not gelled at all this season. So
no, they do. I know what you mean. Our front three seem to be, I'm not saying they're doing their own thing, but there isn't that, the telepathy that they've had in the past.
Yeah. It's getting better. I mean, it's getting better, but I think, it's going to, like you said, it's got to come good sometimes.
It's got to.
It's quite ironic as well, isn't it? Because we didn't make any signings in the summer, so a lot was said about the fact that, these are going to be players that know each other, and they do know each other. They've been playing for years with each other, haven't they? But it's almost like we're playing like we're all new signings sometimes, isn't it, this season?
Yeah.
Which is really bizarre, isn't it?
No,
because the whole point, one of the things that people were saying was, look, we haven't made any signings, but they know how each other play. Yeah. But it hopefully will click. But it hasn't, has it, this season for whatever reason? Possibly it might be something to do with the fact that with the World Cup, they're playing a different system, aren't they?
Sure.
So they're coming back and they're having to sort of reprogram themselves into playing with their club teammates. So there might be an element of that, mightn't there?
Yeah, I agree about Moura as well. Just going back to what you said about him needing a bit more. I feel that he started off well. It seems to have just sort of reduced in the, not say the effort that he's putting in. He's putting 100%, but in the return that we're getting.
I think he needs a goal again. I think players go through little phases and they need a bit of confidence. I think he needs a goal, but then to get a goal, you have to shoot. You know, you have to get in the position to shoot, and he just doesn't seem to be doing that at the moment.
Nasty tackle, sorry, by the way.
Horrible
by
tackle.
That wasn't even a foul, was it?
No, the ref sort of like half saw it. It was one of those ones, I don't think he saw it properly. He definitely didn't see does that mean Snodgrass can still get pulled up on it?
I believe so.
Because he didn't get booked for it, did he?
Yeah,
and he should do, because that was nasty.
Yeah, very.
Really was, yeah.
So you may have heard me earlier on introduce Matthew. So here we are, Matthew. Welcome once again. So really nice to have you on board. So briefly, just tell us a bit about your Spurs history, when you suddenly realised that Spurs was a team for you, when you went to your first game, and then also a bit about the podcast that you do as well.
So, as with probably most fans, it's my dad that got me into it. My dad's Tottenham, lived in Tottenham for most. He doesn't live here now, but he was born and brought up in Tottenham, so he was a massive Spurs fan. So, you know, it was going to be that I was going to be a Spurs fan as well. But he took me to games. But I think what made me fall in love with Spurs was I mean, I'm nearly 40 now, so I'm going back to the days where, you know, you'd stand up against the fence looking through the little, you know, and watching Hoddle play. For me, it was just, I fell in love with the club. You know, he was just a complete magician on the pitch, and I just used to, as a little boy, just stare in wonder watching him, you know, and looking back at my dad, like, you know, this guy's for real. He's so good, you know, and that was me, like Tottenham in my heart forever for then, you know. But I'm actually fast forward to now. I'm a season ticket holder. I've been a season ticket holder only for a year and a half now since we moved to Wembley. Been a member for a few years, but lucky enough to have the opportunity to get a season ticket now, so I'm going to the home games, trying to go to the away games, but nowhere near the points total at the moment. Yeah. So, you know, it's going to be a bit while off before I can start going to away games. But yeah, I'm involved with it's a podcast called Spurs News podcast. It's me, Sam, Dan, and Laura that run it. 4 of us as admins. We've got about 55,000 followers on the Facebook page. That's the kind of core of it. But before the World Cup, we was having a little chat asking about how we can, like, between us, maybe working out a way of revamping it. And I said, let's do a podcast, you know. Unfortunately, Sam lives in Bristol, Laura lives in Bournemouth, and Dan lives in Yorkshire. So, you know, we can't sit here on a sofa, you know, but we do it via Skype, and we try to record every Thursday. It's normally me and Sam, and Dan occasionally does it with his thick Yorkshire accent, but yeah, it's good. I mean, I've been lucky enough to interview a couple of ex-players. Interviewed Mickey Hazard, which was, guys, an absolute legend. Really is a legend. Like, he's such a friendly guy. I went to his house, and Sam had arranged the interview. And so I've turned up and he's answered the door in his pants. Like, he's like, oh, I forgot you were coming. So he's quickly run upstairs, and I had my little boy with me because his school was closed, and he's come down, give my boy a couple of signed photographs of Keith Birkinshaw and Graham Roberts, I think was the other one. Yeah. And then he made me a cup of tea. My little boy was on his iPad, and we just sat in his kitchen and I just turned the recording on, and it felt like just chatting to him, mate. I had a whole list of questions, but I didn't get to ask half of them because he was just so open and friendly, you know. And it got really surreal at times because we're in his kitchen. I'm interviewing Mickey Hazard, who's, like, you know, won the UEFA Cup and the FA Cup with us. His phone goes off, and it's Graham Roberts. So we have to stop. So he talks to his friend Graham Roberts. Another 15, 20 minutes into the interview, he's like, "Oh, it's Keith Birkinshaw on the phone." And I was like, is this for real? Like, I've just entered some sort of third dimension. This is such a surreal, like, how have I ended up a year ago not even been involved with this Spurs News, and suddenly I'm interviewing people, and it's brilliant.
I don't know if it's singled out to Tottenham, but that era of players do seem like they're real friends.
Yeah.
There's definitely
100%.
They're comrades, you know. They've gone through a lot together. I recently went to a Legends Night in Bromley and met Ledley King and Ozzy Ardiles and Graham Roberts. And Graham Roberts and Ozzy are just like you said, they're just proper mates, you know. They're like...
It's true. I got an interview, we got an interview a couple of weeks ago with Paul Maxi Miller, who I best describe his personality as similar to his playing style. No nonsense. Yeah. You know, I'm here to do an interview. Sat down, got yourself a cup of tea, asked him the questions, and don't get me wrong, he answered them fine. But that was it. The end of the question, staring at me, and I need to ask the next question. You know, and it was really kind of. Struck, you know, a
bit like you today.
Yeah. Do you know the funny thing? One of the guys. Now I've got a season ticket. Last season at Wembley, I sort of made friends with all the people around me. And one of the guys, he said to me, when you do the interview, he said, "Can you tell him this story about when I was in primary school, and I had I basically had the Panini sticker book, and I needed the Paul Miller sticker to finish the Spurs page. My teacher saw me doing it, so she's confiscated my Paul Miller sticker." So he said she's put it in her handbag. He said at lunchtime I've basically rummaged through her handbag and I found this Paul Miller sticker, and I got detention for about 2 weeks. He went, "Can you tell him that story?" Right, so I was like, "Okay, I'll tell him." Right, so I told him the story. Yeah, would you want to ask me something else? He was like, "Right, that went down like a lead balloon."
That's brilliant.
I was like, "Why did I even mention it?" But yeah, he gave loads of cracking stuff, and the thing that we basically use this little recording as a little clip for the Facebook page. But I asked him how he ended up at Spurs, because he was there for the youth system onwards, and he actually told me that a family friend, Bobby Moore, said to him, "Play for Spurs." And the reason why he said that to him, he said, "I wish I'd played for Spurs." He said, "I always wish I'd signed for Spurs." And I've taken so much pleasure telling any West Ham fan that he's a secret Tottenham fan. Even at the last Wembley game, I just had this, the Bobby Moore thing. Just took a picture, me and him, did selfie, But yeah, it was just a cracking thing for him to say. But yeah, it was good. It's good, and I enjoy doing it. Like I say, we record every Thursday. Try to get it out sort of by the afternoon. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun doing it.
Awesome. So as you are a guest on the show, you get to choose a player of the week. So this is a player from years gone by who has obviously played for the club and done well for the club. Doesn't have to be a legend as such, but someone that's done quite well. And then we obviously have a chat about them. So who's your player of the week? Who are you going to go for?
Okay, well, a name that comes to mind, he's been in the press recently for the fact that he nearly signed for Arsenal before he signed for us, Michael Carrick.
Okay.
I used to actually live in Romford a few years back, and I lived in this bedsit, and it was actually owned by the West Ham reserve squad, sort of free big terrace house. And I was told that the room I was in was the one that Michael Carrick stayed in, and this is obviously when he was playing for us as well. And I know he was only with us for a short time, a couple of years before he obviously moved on to Manchester United, but I loved him as a player. He really made us tick at midfield, and I always felt at the time we never really had that kind of we never had that strength in midfield, did we, as a team? We've got it a lot more now, but you go back sort of 15, 20 years, and it was always our problem, wasn't it, Spurs? We were so easy to walk over because of our midfield, and I think he gave us a lot of steel, and I loved seeing him play for us, and I just wish he could have stayed for us.
I completely agree. So he signed in 2004 for 3.5 million. We sold him in 2006 for 18 million. Massive loss for me. He was a real quarterback, he was a real, you could just give him the ball and he would turn and he would ping like a 60, 70 yard ball to feet. He was just incredible at that. Both feet as well, really two-footed, technically really, really on the ball. So I thought it was a fantastic player. Really, really loved watching him play.
Great interceptor of the ball as well. I wouldn't say he would ever go hunting for it like, Palacios or any of our players that are in there now where they're constantly pressing. He would just be able to snuff stuff out before it happened. Yeah. Brilliant. As you said, brilliant footballer.
And what makes it even better is we got them from West Ham when they were relegated.
Yeah. West Ham have a good episode so far, aren't they? They're doing really well. They must love watching it. Hello to all the Hammers, by the way. So what we do is now we basically discuss how we think they would fit. The player of the week would fit into our current team, and also the market value in today's crazy market. So in terms of position, he would obviously slot in alongside, he'd probably replace Dyer, wouldn't he? Because he's a similar type of player, maybe not as meaty, but the passing range is obviously exceptional.
If you're looking at Dyer, what's he worth, 40, 50 million? So you're putting him at least that, aren't you, in today's market?
I think, if you're looking sort of when he's mid-20s, I'd say 60. 60, 70.
We've got midfield partnerships that we've got a lot of midfielders, but we have partnerships that you you've seen and you don't want to see again. Like, you know, you're like, I don't want to see them two play again.
Yeah.
With Carrick, I think you'd fit in with every single one of them.
Right, yeah.
Every single one. Carrick Dembele, Carrick Winks, Carrick Dyer. It just seems, it would just seem to work. It would work.
So if you didn't know where we film and record our podcast and YouTube show, we are in the Blue Coats pub in Tottenham. So this is the old Pride of Tottenham pub. It's been revamped and it's now really, really lovely, as you can see by this wonderful sofa. So it just means that we're down the road from the new stadium, so we get to see it every time that we come to record. And we saw the new shop today, not open yet, but we believe it's going to be open tomorrow. We believe it's open tomorrow. It looks amazing. It looks absolutely massive. It's ginormous. It's a proper mega store. So if you are in the area in the next couple of days, then please do go and check it out because it looks amazing. We also expect that we're going to have our announcement by the club about the fixtures against Chelsea and against Southampton and against Burnley, I believe. And I'm just going to check on my thingy. Yes. So we're hopefully going to find out that they are going to be at Wembley, and then we can find out maybe if we're going to get a final date on the actual new stadium being open. People are saying now it's going to be the Man United game in January. Do you know anything on your Spurs newspaper? Have you got any like inside info?
No, we haven't, but it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because, you know, do we want a Manchester United first game, or do we want a Burnley? You know, do we want a game that's we've got more chance of winning it, or do we want a game that's going to be tough? You know, a lot of people, it's going to be one of them grounds where a team's going to want to be the first team to beat us there, aren't they? So they're always going to raise their level. So you're wondering whether if we get a defeat out of the way, then that's not there to play for, you know. But for me personally, I'd love it to be Manchester United, because that was the last game we played at the old ground, so it kind of fits nicely, doesn't it? You know,
that does actually fit quite nicely. Yes.
Yeah.
It just seems to be still mixed messages about it though. Some people are saying it's still months away because they've got so much testing to do, and others are saying that it's going to be it's just, no one seems to know.
I will say this though, I think that I'm kind of swaying towards the United game purely because before that we have that Christmas period where I believe they'll have to have the number of test events going into, because obviously it has to be tested a number of times, and I think that around that December time you'll be able to do that.
Do you know what I think?
We'll still have fixtures, but at least people will be able to attend.
Yeah, sure.
Because of the holidays.
I think there's a clue actually. I think one of my friends was saying there's a clue that there's a under 23 Premier League 2 game that they haven't put the ground that it's going to be played at. They haven't announced that yet.
Right.
So they're wondering whether they haven't done that because it could potentially be the one at the new ground. So it's interesting that the fact they haven't put the ground down. So possibly.
Exclusive. Look at you showing off with your knowledge.
Spurs news.
There you go. Yeah.
Spurs news.
By name, by nature.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much for coming on. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thanks for having me on.
And yeah, we'll hopefully get you on again. Don, always a pleasure, buddy.
Thanks, mate.
Top stuff. Okay, guys, so thanks again for watching and listening. Once again, we have all of the usual handles to share and to like. We're on YouTube, and we're on Facebook, and we're on Twitter, and also Instagram, TTILM Show. That's the thing I love most show. Please do send us a message, subscribe. If you want to come on the show, like Matthew did, we're always welcome to hear from you. Even if you wanted to just come on via video link, we'd love to hear from you. So keep on watching and come on, you Spurs.